welcome to the Ghostrunner channel. Recently, and with recently I mean 15 minutes before release, I bought Ghostrunner and finished it in a day. I really enjoyed my experience with the game, but it didn't go exactly as expected. I came into Ghostrunner expecting to absolutely love it. The demo felt amazing to play, and the small sneak peek it gave into the story really got me interested, despite it seemingly being a pretty generic dystopian cyberpunk setting. So when I finished the game, I was kind of disappointed. This isn't me saying I didn't like the game, I really did enjoy it, but let me explain. Before I start though, this is just my personal opinion and experience. If you don't agree with something I said, that's fine. You can tell me about it in the comments. Also, spoiler alert for the entirety of Ghostrunner, of course. So, the gameplay. In macro perspective, I do love the gameplay. The movement is incredibly satisfying to use, from slide jumping quickly to gain and sustain momentum, a technique that isn't explicitly taught by the game itself, but something I picked up from playing Apex Legends, to simple things like just wall running or even running around on the ground itself. The movement is fine-tuned in such a way that it feels very easy to control and to make you feel badass while still giving you enough freedom to approach most situations in whichever way you wish to. The combat, which is also incredibly intertwined with the movement, is mainly pretty good. If your reflexes aren't absolutely amazing, you will definitely die a lot, and this is coming from an avid Dark Souls and Fury player. Some encounters are just incredibly busy, and there's some very precise movements you need to make to get through them, while keeping track of everything else that's going on. I don't dislike this fact though, I enjoy the trial and error aspect of the game. Where I have a problem though is that some enemy types are just so incredibly underexplained. Take the Metal Gear Gecko. Okay, give me a break, that's just what they look like. These geckos shoot this huge wave of lasers out of their faces, and these things just show up out of nowhere. The architect never mentions them, neither the Zoe or anyone for that matter, not even the Ghostrunner. You don't even get a little text box about them or their names, they just show up and you have to learn their patterns. Even those wrestler guys that look like the monkeys from Metal Gear Rising, we're back at Metal Gear again, get more of an introduction, and they are the easiest enemies in the game, I swear. The Cyber Void puzzles sprinkled throughout the game are a great break from the action though, and a really good way to teach players about the new abilities they'll be getting there. But these Cyber Void puzzles do highlight that same flaw again. The game kind of just flip-flops between telling you exactly what you need to do and how something works, like most games do, and then a second later just introducing a new enemy without any fanfare, basically telling you go figure out how they work on your own, which is honestly something done much better in the Half-Life franchise. I would have been fine with either approach really, but the flip-flopping between the two approaches makes it so you never get accustomed to either really. Overall, the gameplay is great. I enjoyed it a lot, and while it definitely had its flaws, which if the game ever gets a sequel, which is definitely a possibility, could definitely be ironed out. Either way, it's incredibly fucking fun. Oh fuck, I forgot the boss fights. Okay, again, I just want to make it clear, I had a good time with this game, but the boss fights were just kind of frustrating. The game has 3 major boss fights, which is a decent number for a game this long. If it had been any more, it would have probably felt like a boss rush, which, judging from the bosses already in the game, would have not been a great time. It's not like I hate boss fights, it's just... Let me explain. The first boss in the game is TO-37M, or Tom for short, the tower's security system. It's this huge fucking pillar that shoots lasers everywhere and you have to get to the top and cut through like its wires. It's probably the best boss in the game, if only for the fact that it's the most parkoury and is actually based around the movement, but it's just annoying. I don't know why, but the boss is just no fun at all. Compare this to literally every boss in Fury, or even Dark Souls 3. Most of the bosses in Dark Souls 3, the fun ones at least, build upon the general gameplay of the game, just taken to the next level and with a lot more health than a regular enemy. Ghostrunner tries to do this and comes the closest to doing it in its first boss. Tom takes 3 times as many hits as most enemies do, which isn't saying a lot, as literally every other enemy dies in 1 hit. It builds upon the gameplay, or is rather a continuation of the gameplay. I think the thing that kills this boss fight, and the rest of the boss fights in the game as well, for me, has to be the fact that you can only really fuck up once, because you can only take 1 hit. While the game does give you checkpoints after every hit you manage to get on the boss, getting set back all the way to the start of the phase every time you make 1 tiny slip up is just enough for me not to enjoy the boss fights. The thing is, however, I just feel like the gameplay doesn't suit boss encounters incredibly well. The small and large enemy encounters are much better suited for the movement and combat this game is going for. While I don't think the boss fights ruin the game, they do make an impact on my enjoyment of it. The story of this game is handled pretty similarly to the story in Fury, a game I very much love. It's definitely there, in the foreground too, not just in the background, but you could have a perfectly good experience if you just turn off the dialogue and subtitles. The focus is most definitely on the gameplay, which it gets mostly right. That's not to say the story is bad or anything, I do enjoy it despite its predictability. I mean, I don't think anyone in this plane of existence heard the Architect's voice and didn't think, yeah, he's gonna be the bad guy, isn't he? But the payoff of his eventual reveal in the final Cyber Void Gauntlet symbolizing Jack, our main Ghostrunner, trying to fight off the Architect taking over his mind were pretty cool. My main gripe has to be the fact that after she left, Zoe just kind of vanished into thin air. Also, I haven't mentioned her a lot, but Zoe's one of the climbers, rebels that fought against Mara, the Keymaster, that picks up our Ghostrunner. She's a fun enough character and plays a pretty big role in bringing back Jack's humanity. I don't have a lot of other things to say about it really. It's a good enough story, it services the game well, it's just kind of fine. All in all, I would recommend Ghostrunner. Not to everyone, but if you just finished Titanfall's 2 campaign or are looking for a single player experience with similar movement, or if you're a big fan of ball-bustingly hard games like Fury or Dark Souls or Hollow Knight, you might want to check this out. I personally enjoyed the game a hell of a lot, and while it definitely had its flaws, I'll probably still replay it if only for the movement. Anyway, that was just my opinion. Don't sweat it too much. See y'all later.